The yogin who knows these parts, O Arjun, is never deluded. Therefore, at all times, O Arjun, be you firm in yoga. So Sri Krishna tells Arjuna in this verse that after knowing about these two parts, no yogin is ever deluded. The word tasmat is used meaning therefore. So God tells Arjuna to be firm in yoga at all times. And that what yoga is this? This is the yogi that is the ideal of the Gita, as defined in the 48th verse of the second chapter of the Gita. Samatvan yoga uchyate. Evenness of mind is called yoga. So yoga is the evenness of mind. And this is the yogi that is the ideal of the Gita, as defined in the 50th verse of the second chapter of the Gita. Yoga kamasu kausalam. Therefore strive for yoga. Yoga is excellence in action. Sri Krishna tells Arjuna to be such a yogi. This is the message that God gives to Arjuna. The phrase na tirthasi is used meaning those paths that were described in the previous verses. The word janan is used meaning having known in truth. After knowing these paths in truth, the yogi is never deluded. So who is a yogi? If one is going to remain free from faults, whether material objects are attained or not attained, then such a person can be called a yogi. This is a person who, despite getting something, remains free from faults, and who, despite not getting something, also remains free from faults in his inner being. The scriptures say a very clear thing, that the person may become fickle, but his inner being is such that he wants to remain free from faults. And the feelings in his heart are such that, emotions in his heart, that are such that I do not wish to become fickle, whether I attain objects or not, and I do not want to give rise to faults. Faults may arise, but he makes as much great effort as possible for purity, and to make such sure that he does not become fickle as a result of these faults. Such a person is a yogi. Therefore, once a person makes a decision to do and to walk on this path, then he becomes a yogi. It works both ways. This person does not have faults in his inner being, whether he attains material objects or not. And at the same time, on the path that he is walking, whether he gets precipitous success or not. It is not as if a person begins walking on the path of God, then it will be so that he begins walking today. And he will find God tomorrow. And God will say, ask what you want, son. Whatever you ask, I will give. It will not work like this. On this path, one can get success or failure, and one may have to wait. But yet despite this, a yogi keeps his heart free from faults. What happens with us is that if we get material objects, then we have faults. And if we do not get material objects, then faults will also arise. On the other side, if we walk on the path of God and on the path of the Supreme Soul, then if we get success, then faults arise. And if we do not get success, then our courage is broken. We are being pushed on all sides. This keeps on happening. We are neither here nor there. So what is such a yogi like? He does not get faults whether he gets mature objects or not. And he does not get faults where he succeeds not on the path of God. He just wants to walk on the path, and that is it. The efforts are enough. One who accepts this is a yogi. One whose attitude is like this is a yogi. Shri Krishna tells Arjuna to be firm in yoga at all times. What is the Lord trying to say when he says, yoga yukto bhava? Be firm in yoga. It means in any circumstances, be they favorable or unfavorable circumstances, you should not change your path. Rather, you should make right use of both paths and always remain in a state of firm, even-mindedness. This is what Sri Krishna means when he says that yoga yukto bhava, be firm in yoga. This applies in both circumstances. If you wish to define a yogi in simple language, you can call a yogi a balanced personality. The scales of justice remain steady at the top and neither slant one way nor the other. Only then can they remain just. If it gets to either one of the two sides, then injustice has happened. If the weighing scales tip on one side, then the merchant has given away too many goods. And if it goes on the other side, then the merchant has made a loss. If something tips too much on any side, it leads to a loss for one side. Only when it stays exactly in the middle is lead justice. In the same way, a yogi is a balanced personality because he does not take to either side. If you look at the lives of human beings, then you will see that it is very difficult to remain in the middle. It is very easy to tip over to one side. We do not know what we are tipping over to one side or the other. We do not know when we are slipping, nor when we are falling to either side. It is very difficult to remain steady. Guruji remembers a small event from a family. Saints also give this example. There were two brothers living in a joint family, including the grandfather, the grandmother, the two brothers, their wives and their children. The older brother got married and had a child. 2 years later, the younger brother got married and also had a child. One evening, these two children were playing with their younger brother. The younger brother's child called the younger brother's father, and the older brother's child called the younger brother uncle. There was not much of a difference in the ages between the two children. So the son of the older brother was 5 years old, and the son of the younger brother was 3 years old. They were playing with the younger brother. Both children asked this younger brother to give them a chocolate. The younger brother brought a chocolate from the fridge and broke it into 2 pieces. He saw 2 pieces and realized that one piece was too bigger and the other piece was smaller. The bigger piece was on his left hand and the smaller piece was in his right hand. The child of the older brother was standing by his left hand and the son was standing by his right hand. He realized that if he kept his hands in the same way, then the child of the older brother would get the bigger piece of the chocolate and his own son would get the smaller piece of the chocolate. Therefore he played about with his hands and mixed the chocolate so that his son could get the bigger piece. Both children ate the chocolate. The older brother was sitting at the sofa nearby and saw this event happen. He remained silent and did not say anything. He was very understanding. See how easy it is to tell on one side? Now after 1 week or 15 days, all the people in the house were sitting there quietly, and the older brother, after thinking a lot, said something to his parents. He said that he thinks that it is time that the family split up, separate from living together, and the business should be sold. The parents found this very strange and asked why he was saying this, because the oldest son was very cultured and would never say anything like this. The parents said that both brothers got on very well, as did their wives from both houses. They said that even the children love each other and play together all the time. The parents asked that the older brother why he was saying this. The older brother was intelligent, and his parents had faith in his intelligence. They knew that there must be meaning behind what he was saying. Both brothers were also sitting there. The parents asked the older brother why he was saying this, because the whole family was running a very nice business together and everything was going well. They asked him why he wanted to split the business. The older brother said, "There's a lot of peace and bliss at the moment, and the business is going really well. If we do this now, then it will happen with peace and later difficulties may arise." The parents asked him why he wanted to split it and whether someone had said anything. The older brother said that nobody has said anything. The parents then asked him why he was saying this. The older brother was not saying anything and just told his parents to have faith in his intelligence. The older brother would not say anything. When the mother asked, "Swear to me you will tell me. We trust your intelligence. What you are saying must be right. But tell us what is the reason why you wish to separate the business." When the mother asked him to swear to her, then he was tied by his promise, and he just told his mother that in one sentence that, "Mother, at the moment there are many differences in the hands, but before there are differences in the mind, we should go." This is something worth thinking about. It is very natural. If you look at it one way, then it is not much of a difference. One child is given a bigger piece of chocolate and the other child is given a smaller piece of chocolate. It does not make a difference. A child perhaps does not have so much awareness about quantity, and there were feelings and everything but it is very difficult for human beings to remain steady. It was justice, because if this event happened today, then the situation would have gotten worse. That is why human beings find it very difficult not to tip on one side. So who is yogi? A yogi is a balanced personality. He does what is just and what is right. Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna to become a yogi. He does not tell us to become part-time yogi, but to be a yogi at all times. God tells Arjuna not to lose his balance, no matter what the circumstances, be it success, failure, fame, ill, victory, defeat, or any other circumstance. God tells Arjuna to be such a yogi. Let's take the last verse of this chapter.